Alright, we've talked about the first one, we've talked about the second one, so let's jump in and finish off the third and final game of the original trilogy. So let's discuss Mass Effect 3. Now, Mass Effect 3. This one is my favourite of the entire series. It was the first story-based game I ever played back when it first came out, when I was just starting to get into gaming. So even with the bad endings, which I didn't know at the time was bad, because I'd never played the others, it still felt like a great game. And to this day, it's managed to hold up as my favourite overall. With this one, you once again get to continue the story of Shepard as they fight back against the Reapers, who have finally arrived in the galaxy and are killing and harvesting the advanced civilizations in incomprehensible numbers. But it's not only just the threat of death that they bring, but also how they harvest and turn the races against each other, causing great mental stress for many who have to fight what once used to be a member of their race. And on top of the Reapers, of course, you have several other enemies to fight. Most noticeably being Cerberus, who went from, first game being outcast Black Ops terrorist, to the second game at least trying to do something and fight back against the Reapers, to the third game where they just essentially go batshit crazy, doing everything in their power to try and take control of the Reapers, even though that means losing control of themselves. And this game for me just feels like it's just full of epic moments. You get amazing cutscenes, like right when a Reaper is about to attack, and everything goes silent for a few seconds before the Reaper noise and an explosion goes off. You get an amazing soundtrack. It's the sort of thing, sometimes I just enjoy listening to the soundtrack while I'm doing other things. And it really helps. The soundtrack that they chose brings out like the sad, hopeless, sometimes depressing thought of this game, knowing that even if you win, millions upon millions of people are going to die. And it really does feel like a hopeless fight sometimes. And to top off this amazing story is the voice acting. Definitely feels like people have found their footing, that they feel comfortable in their characters, and it really shows. Like, it really makes you feel invested in the characters and hope for their survival. Now, along with Shepard returning, we also have a majority of the side characters returning, depending on your choices through the previous game. These include ones like, Garrus and Tali from the previous games, Joker, Edie, as long as a few characters from the original game who weren't party members in the last one, such as Liara and Ashley, or Caden. And they're joined by a couple of new members, such as James and Javi. And although they don't join you as party members anymore, you get to enjoy interactions with other characters from the previous games, once again providing that they survived your suicide mission, of course. And once again, with this being a Bioware game, it opens up several romance options with previous characters, along with a few new ones as well. And it just feels good having these characters return, ones that you feel kind of invested in. Like, the whole situation would feel just a lot worse without them around, as you run and gun across multiple main and side missions over several planets in an attempt to stop the Reapers from wiping out everyone. And the planets that are getting hit hardest by the Reapers, such as Earth, Vessia, Palaven, offer us the chance to finally get to have a look at some of the main council worlds that we've never got to explore before. Although this probably isn't the best time to be visiting these planets, it still gives us a look at a different part of the other races and how advanced they are, as well as how advanced the humans are on Earth. On top of these new areas, such as the council homeworlds, we also get to enjoy new looks at familiar places, such as the Citadel and Omega. And speaking about Omega, its area is one of the few DLCs that come with the Legendary Edition, giving you the opportunity to join up with Arya T'Loak in an attempt to take back the mining asteroid, Omega, that's been taken over by Cerberus. The whole experience gives you a larger, more enjoyable look at Omega as a whole, not just the nightclubs and shops that we know of from the previous game, as well as a new Reaper base enemy in the Adjutant with the whole thing just being an enjoyable side story in a familiar location. And on top of the Omega missions, you also get to enjoy some experience with the Leviathan missions, which gives you a more in-depth look on where the Reapers originally came from, what was used to create the first Reapers. As you journey across several planets, meeting some new scientists, fighting against the Reapers as always, while tracking the Leviathan, and once you've found them, potentially gaining a powerful new ally in the fight against the Reapers. And finally, to finish off the DLC side stories, we have the Citadel DLC. One of my personal favourite moments of the entire game. With it giving you an apartment in a new area of the Citadel, as well as open up an area full of leisure activities, it also comes with a very fun story. Pitting you against your own clone who's trying to steal your identity simply because they don't have your memories, and bringing your entire crew in to help you with the situation who have no trouble whatsoever making fun of Shepard the entire time, as well as giving you a bunch of new interactions with your crew and previous crew members, and having you throw a party where everyone was a crew member and is still left alive joins up for a night of fun. It just gives the entire thing a more fun, light-hearted experience in what is essentially a tense, very hard and depressing experience that everyone's going through. It just feels like a good farewell after everything that's happened throughout the entire series. Now, with the third game, we once again have some fun third-person combat, but with a new game comes some improvements. And the biggest one, and the one I'm most happy about, is finally, we play Shepard, who's essentially a super soldier who can finally jump, at least across gaps, and can sprint permanently when in combat and outside of combat. And while that doesn't sound like much, when you play a newer game and you go back to these older ones, it really is these little things that you notice that they don't have and tend to miss. But hey, that might mostly just be my own opinion, of course. And on top of the improved gameplay, we once again get some new weapons. My favourite of which is a silenced pistol that you get in the Citadel DLC, as well as a new weapon management system that lets you add a couple of customizations to improve the large variety of weapons that are in the game, most of which, as normal, can be purchased through the Citadel, on top of being found throughout the planets. You also have the same armor customization that was in the second game. You get a few parts to change the overall materials, and then you choose your colour, tint, whatnot. And one of the other changes that you have is, once again, the ability menu being upgraded. We have a few more added back in that were missing in the second one, and a larger path for each upgrade, which splits off to give you a couple of different choices depending on what playstyle you want to go for. They also once again brought back the Paragon/Renegade gameplay that can still affect the story depending on the choices you make, as well as quick time events that show up from time to time. And they even still have the ship scanning as you travel from system to system, although this time it's changed. You're looking for war effort items and people, and trying to avoid the Reapers who can show up in a system if you scan too much, searching for you. The only few small parts that are missing in this game that were in previous game is this one has no vehicle combat, whether in the Maker or the Hammerhead. You do occasionally fight from a mounted gun and a shuttle, but it's not the same as what the other two were like. And one that I'm pretty happy that's no longer there, because it just felt like a waste of time, is there no more little hacking mini-games. Overall, the gameplay improvements that they made for number 3 and with the Legendary Edition just feel like a benefit overall and feel like they're really well done. And that's it. That's Mass Effect 3. As I've said, it's my favourite of the series. Quite enjoy it. Felt like it was a good ending to the trilogy. Even with the original bad ending, the overall game still felt like a good ending to the series. But, as I said, that's just my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts on it were. Whether it was your favourite, whether you hated it. Let me know down in the comments. And I hope to catch everyone in the next video. bye.